Welcome back to All Things Nerdy with Nate and Joe. I'm Nate, that's Joe. Today is our monthly podcast episode where we specifically talk about anime. We usually have a panel. Eli's running a little late. He will join us as soon as he can. But today we have a very interesting topic that can go millions of ways. We're going to be talking about Naruto and everything that goes with it, character arcs, just story arcs, what our thoughts are about the Leaf, the character specifically, why Rock Lee is the GOAT, all of those things. There will be some spoilers. If you haven't watched Naruto and you plan on watching Naruto, then, maybe don't everything we have to say. But at this point, it's been out for so long. Just watch it because you can get on TikTok. There's a million clips there. But anyways, that's what we're going to be talking about. Joe?
Yep. So super excited. I have more in a Naruto hat, Naruto hoodie, got a couple Naruto tattoos. So definitely very excited to talk about Naruto. And I know Keeton also has a Naruto tattoo. We can talk about that a little bit later. Nate, when are you getting a Naruto tattoo?
I have no tattoos currently, and as soon as I get my first tattoo, I know it's game over. We'll be like,
but without further ado, let's talk nerdy.
Let's do it. Keaton, hit him with your little intro. What do you got to say about Naruto?
We've talked on other podcasts if you've seen it, but Naruto holds a nostalgia value for me. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z was like whatever kid first watched, or I'll say most kids, but Naruto is the one that really got me into anime. So holds a super nostalgic factor into, what I do and what I like. It kind of kick-started my anime obsession.
Yeah. So I guess we can jump into it easily with who's your favorite Naruto character? It could be the original, it could be Shippuden. Just who's your fave?
That's not an easy question. That is like jump into it. No, that is not an easy question.
Feels easy. It feels easy.
That's not an easy question. Gosh dang. That's like what's your favorite song or movie or something? Like it's all.
I can answer that too.
Depends on the day. Depends on how.
Yeah, it depends on my mood. Crap. Joe, why don't you start?
All right. So I think Jiraiya, and you can see the pop above my head right here. Like he holds a soft spot for me just because of the relationship he has with Naruto. He's a Sanin. He's just like OG badass. Like just, I just remember like when he comes up with Itachi and he's just got the chick over his shoulder. He's like, this guy's so badass that he's going to fight two deadly ninja with a chick over his shoulder. Like, I was like, all right, this guy's awesome. But,
yeah, and Itachi's like telling Kisame to
chill out. Like he's like, no, we gotta run. Like we can't fight this guy. We gotta leave.
So it's crazy to see what like Itachi does to Kakashi, right? And then Jiraiya and Itachi, like Jiraiya goes in, fucking toads it, right? And Itachi runs.
Yeah, and I think that's what like made me like instantly like say, all right, this is my guy, because he just like before that, like Kakashi was the guy. Like he was like, dude, there's no one stronger than Kakashi, the copycat ninja. He knows he can copy any jutsu. Gets just folded by Itachi in 3 seconds, and then you got this guy, like who's just like he's protecting Naruto, he's protecting the girl he's got over his shoulder, and they're still afraid to engage him in combat. And they're like, "No, we're out. Like we got to get out of here."
Yeah.
Jiraiya is a great character, start to finish. Like he's got his quirks, and they humanize him really well for being as good as what he is, as much of a badass as what he is. I feel like they humanize him really nicely.
Yeah, but is he a good sensei?
Naruto gets super strong under his watch.
What is the purpose? I would be more, the question is he a good godfather, right? Like, is he a good sensei? He did exactly what a sensei is supposed to do. Naruto got stronger. That is because of Jiraiya. So yes, he is a good sensei. Is he a good godfather?
A good sensei is supposed to teach you. It's more about life lessons than anything else. And he also, I had to make sure I was right. He also was Pain's sensei.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that.
In a way,
yeah, but I mean, he is a badass. But you're echoing a little bit, Nate. I think.
Oh shit! Turn it down.
But I mean,
that's kind of like nature versus nurture, right? Like they had the same sensei, but ended up so different.
Yeah, maybe Jiraiya had a little bit more wisdom. Probably taught Naruto a little different.
Well, the issue, and they talk about it in Naruto, Jiraiya left the kids, right? Left Pain, and the other two. What is it? Conan and
Nagato.
Well, Nagato was Pain. He left them and just like didn't come back. So I think as a person, he might be pretty sus. But as a sensei, Pain is a world destroyer, right? Like he was like pushing, pulling, like all kinds of crazy stuff. Like he could have destroyed the leaf and so much more. And I mean, a lot of that comes from what Jiraiya taught him, how to harness powers and all that. And I mean, look, if you say, Nate, do you want a sensei that can teach you to like harness your ability or teach you life lessons? Like, would a balance be good? Yes. But if I have to choose one or the other, if I'm training, it's because I want to get stronger, not because I want life lessons.
And then just go murder a whole village.
Yeah, just massacre almighty.
It was also Minato's sensei.
Yep,
Minato. There you go.
I mean, another one of the greatest ninja. Like, I mean, he's got a lot of accolades when it comes to students under him. So
yeah. Nate, who's yours?
For me, who's mine? Oh gosh. So
we know the answer to this.
So this is what I'll say about my favorite character. I was really disappointed that he wasn't involved more, because during the tuning exams, like the dude was
awesome. You gonna tell him who it is first?
I'm about to. I'm leading into it. You know, I'm building
suspense.
My bad.
Okay, so it's Rock Lee. Right, I absolutely love Rock Lee. He's one of my favorite characters, and I was so disappointed in the fact that he wasn't involved more throughout Shippuden and all of that, because in the early ones, right, when he's fighting Gaara, which bullshit, plot armor, whatever, you know, all that fun stuff. Like, I thought he was going to be a much bigger part than what he was. He definitely fell off. Now they kind of replaced the Rock Lee aspect with Mike Guy. Now Mike Guy is a G, son. Like, I love Mike Guy too. The dude is amazing. I don't know why he like quickly grew to one of my favorite characters, like him and Rock Lee, which are essentially the same.
It's like they just copy and pasted each other.
In every fashion of the word.
But I mean, I will say with Rock Lee, like when in a tournament, when he's like, "All right, take off the weights," and it was like, "Oh, like some weights are gonna make a difference," and he just drops them, and that's like the edge of the like, "Oh no," it's like the
iconic.
That's what
iconic scene.
So I worked on the railroad with like some of my friends I grew up with, and they watched anime. And long story short, they're like, just when we work on the railroad, we have to drive a lot, and I was like, let's just watch some fights or whatever. And so I'd watch a couple fights, and at first it's like a lot of things, especially I'm young too. I'm like, I don't want to say I was too cool for it, but I'm like, that's whatever. It's a cartoon. But the Rock Lee Gaara fight, whenever my friend showed me that, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm giving this a chance. That was like, even with no context, like he, you know, my friend would kind of paint the picture, but I didn't have full context, and like I wasn't bought into the characters. But when I saw that, I was like, all right, I need to maybe, sorry, my wife's watching hockey.
She's very passionate.
Let's go, Carly.
But that's what I mean, that's kind of what got me into anime, to be honest with you, is the Rock Lee Gaara fight.
So for context, for the people listening who might not know about Naruto, so in the world of the universe of Naruto, they have ninjutsu, which is like abilities that they have within themselves. There's 5 different styles. Usually most people can do 2, right? Rock Lee, however, has no ninjutsu, has none of that. So he learns taijutsu. It's all he has. He can't, conjure a flame or use the Sharingan in every any situation that is presented to him or anything like that. So he literally just works his ass off to be able to compete on this level. And when he was a kid, he was made fun of, like people bullied him, all that stuff, but he never gave up. He just kept working. And then everyone at the tuning fights was like, you know, Gar versus Rock Lee, and everybody's like, oh man, you know, Gar's about to whoop him. And Rock Lee just, well, I guess we go back. Rock Lee did just like stun Sasuke, right? Like, ooh, son, that came out of nowhere. So, but like Rock Lee's just overly positive, massive belief system, like believes he can do it. Didn't care that Gaara had the ultimate defense and just went ham.
It's like the epitome of hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Like that's like Rock Lee epitomized, and it's emotional because he's kind of like he's not a loser, but like, you know, the girl he likes thinks and all this, and it's great.
He is rocking a bowl cut though, but in that fight, right, like, so he's trying to hit Gaara and the sand's popping up and he just can't get to him. And so my guy tells him, he, you know, gives him the thumbs up to like, hey, let's even the odds a little bit. So that's when he takes off the weights and everybody's like, what's a couple pounds? And then you see it. And that's when you're like, fuck, let's go. And then he just goes off. Unfortunately, plot armor Gaara's got to win because of bullshit, but
there's no breaking all of his bones. Yep. Gaara is one of my favorite characters because of the drastic like change that he goes through. Yeah. Well, he just starts off as a badass, right? Like you can't touch him, like, and then just he drastically changes from someone who literally just wants to murder everyone to like right before they're going to war, he's giving a speech to rally everyone together and like, you know, fight behind Naruto. Like, I mean, if that's not character development, I don't know what is, man.
Yeah. Like, Gaara grew on me a little bit, but I hated him for the most part. I will say my wife got me like this Naruto little like surprise pack thing, and there's 6 options that could have come in it, and I was like, oh man, there's only one that I really don't want. Let me show you the one I got. One.
He just kind of looks weird when he's older.
Yeah, I will say Gaara in Boruto is.
Oh yeah, he's weird.
They did him wrong.
Yeah, they did.
We do have a quick comment for you, Keeton, who just scored in the hockey game.
I was informed it was Matt Boldy of the Minnesota Wild. We are Minnesota Wild fans.
Minnesota, where did that come? You know what? It's not anime topic. I'll ask you offline. And then he says he only asked because he doesn't understand anything.
Appreciate you. Here's your time to get into it, Hunter.
I know.
Watch Attack on Titan. Watch the first 10 episodes, and if you're not hooked after 10 episodes,
I'm trying to get J Boogie Cox to watch Attack on Titan.
Yeah, he kind of let go of Vinland Saga.
No, he finished it.
Oh, did
he? Yeah.
Well, okay. He just didn't say anything about
it. Yeah. Well, who's your favorite, Keeton?
Man, I was just thinking about it. Like I had to me, it's like Game of Thrones. Like at certain points of the story, there's different characters that are your favorite at the time. Like at first, I loved the third Hokage. I thought it was the coolest, and his summoning is still my favorite. Like the gorilla is still the coolest summoning to me. I think it's amazing. But and then, you know, when you get introduced to Eight Tails, Eight Tails is the coolest because he just destroys Sasuke, and you just hate Sasuke at that point.
He not only destroys him, he is writing a rap.
Yeah.
He's like, hold on, let me write this down. All right, continues to kick his ass.
So Killer B for me, like I would have appreciated him if he was like just a quick little blurb like throughout Shippuden, but the dude had a long stay, right? And it was like the rapping and the nonsense. After a while, I was just like, I got so tired of it. I was like, man, this is ridiculous.
Well, I liked him and his brother fighting too. I thought it was cool.
Oh yeah, the Raikages.
But then whenever Hashirama, the first Hokage, was introduced, like that's still my guy. But I say all that to say, throughout different periods, there's ebbs and flows, but the one guy that was always there, I'm not going to say Naruto because that's just like kind of understood, but it's hard not to just love Kakashi at the end of the day.
Man.
Because he's there from the beginning to the end. He's also kind of like, he's kind of the guy who's like action speaks louder than words. Oh, that's cool. Like, he's not overly just gonna, he is super wise and stuff, but he's very much a hands-off, you learn your own lesson type guy. And he's super slept on the whole time. But then, like, I know if you watch TikToks or videos of like edits, you just realize how many times throughout the series they're like, oh shit, that's Kakashi Hatake.
Yeah.
A copy ninja. And then you just realize like he's actually just, since he's been there for so long, you forget how cold he actually is.
Master of 1,000 jutsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kakashi also, man, like he's one of those, like he protects the people around them because of what happened, with Obito and I can't remember her name. What was it? Karine, yeah. So like he is very adamant about protecting people that he cares about. So like Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and all that. So like he goes out of his way to make sure they're safe. But the way he does it and the way he fights is like so cool and so different than everyone else. It feels like it's not just force versus force. Like it all feels calculated. Like Itachi is probably like one of the smartest people. Like Orochimaru. The one dude under Orochimaru, his name is escaping me right now. The dude was a genius, right? But then it's like Itachi's like up there with them, but Kakashi has to be close to that because he is easily one of the smartest fighters in Naruto.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like an underrated aspect, along with everything else. And also too, the testimony is like him and his dad, like, his dad died by by protecting his friends. And you get to, I feel like an underrated part of Naruto in general is that interaction when he finally gets to meet him. And I'm trying to think of what else. But I think like one of the coldest lines in the whole show is whenever Sasuke's throwing a damn fit and he's pissed and upset and he's like, and I'll kill all your loved ones or whatever too. And he's like, well, yeah. I'm afraid someone's already beat you to the punch. And he's just cool and just like, yeah, just keeps talking. And it's just like, bro, that's like Kakashi epitomized in my thing is like, the dude doesn't talk about, he doesn't talk about how bad he has. He doesn't complain about it. He just leads by example and he's just laid back and chill. And it's just like, yeah, it is what it is. But then when it's time to turn it on, when it comes to people he loves, he's just a freaking absolute badass.
Yeah. And I was going to bring that up too, where like Sasuke's about to like run off and, just because he's mad. And he's just like, yeah, that's already happened, man. He's got one of the most storied pasts. And he's like, well, why are you being such a little bitch, essentially?
Yeah, well, Sasuke is a perma bitch, right? It's just it's the realm in which he lives.
Sasuke finds out like all about all of his brother's sacrifice and everything it is, and his first reaction is, "Let me go undo all that real quick."
Don't get that,
Kakashi is amazing, and I think he makes a lot of the story. Like he carries a lot of the weight of Naruto, especially early on in the original Naruto. Like Naruto is like goofy and like trying to figure out who he is and the team, but honestly, Kakashi carries the actual show from like a content perspective, like moving it forward where they don't just look like idiots out there doing dumb stuff. Like Kakashi is so important, and his broship with my God is like hashtag goals. The way they love each other, the way they are like Kakashi would die for that dude 1,000 times over. Like he would come back to life just to die for him again. Hashtag goals, nowhere close.
Yeah. And then you can't forget the 1,000 years of pain.
Oh, you talking about Itachi got him in?
No, that Kakashi does to Naruto when they were doing that, trying to get the belt. He's like, 1,000 years of pain. And he's like, it's just
there are some moments in Naruto that I'm like, what is happening?
As cold as he is, like he's still just a goofy guy, like who can, just be fun to be around. That's what it boils down to. Especially with like him and the back and forth they have. It's like, now I've beaten you 999 times of 998.
Oh yeah. Or I've knocked out 200 people. How many of you knocked out? And there, back and forth.
I think it also says a lot about the writing of Naruto because like Kakashi is such a badass and they lean on him for a while, but then I think they properly hand the torch off to like Naruto. And then like you have my guy where he like says my guy's stronger, and things like that. Like even though he is insanely strong, he still knows that he needs other people to succeed. Where a lot of times when you're like that, you can be like, I can do all this. I can do all this. But there's so many situations in the show where he's like, like we need Naruto, or let Naruto handle it, and those kind of situations, which is cool. And I get it. Naruto is the main character. So of course, but still, like, they could have definitely went hard in the paint with Kakashi against a lot of people.
Yeah. That's in general. He's a self-aware person.
And his summoning is awesome. Like, just the being able to summon the different dogs.
It's probably my least favorite summonings of all the summonings.
What?
Probably my least favorite too.
Yeah.
No way. I guess I just like dogs, but it's cool.
I think my favorite summoning has to be the toads. It's not even close. The toads are amazing. Like, the gorilla's cool. The dogs are whatever. The slug is the snake is but dude, the toads are freaking amazing.
What about the salamander?
Salamander's cool, but still, I'll take the toads.
The toads, like, it's hard to beat the toads simply because of like that entrance, the pain entrance is like
the pain entrance.
Yeah, you also get a lot of backstory. You get to know them, so you feel like you feel connected to them more than any other summoning, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. The third Hokage is amazing. I wish they did like a third Hokage backstory. Or, recently they did the writer of Naruto polled his fans and said, who would you want to do like a short story about? And Minato won, the fourth Hokage.
I would check that out.
But it's supposed to be coming out soon, but I kind of wish it would have been the third Hokage.
He gets a lot of hate though because of how Naruto was treated.
Yeah.
The third Hokage.
Yeah.
Because the dude just kept him in a room. Yeah, gave him money to survive and then kept him in a room, like
I was old school.
I got old school. What? Hey, I know you're like 8 years old, but go live by yourself, like with no friends and family. Like, oh.
And the justification for it, I've seen a lot of people defend it, like he's trying to protect him and all that stuff. I think even like the people that worked on the show tried to explain like how he was just trying to protect Naruto. Naruto's the Jinchuriki. What do you mean? Like, just hiding him in a room away from everything is not protecting him. Like, everyone knows who he is and all that. Like, he's the Jinchuriki.
Well, I think the idea is like the Nine Tails attack the whole village, so let's just seclude him so it never happens again.
Well, that's not really fair. I mean, he wasn't secluded. He was still walking around the village willy-nilly. He just
I didn't say he was right.
He was an outcast. Like
the very first episode, he's running around painting the village.
Right. He becomes a nuisance because like no one cares about him. Like, and everyone hates him. It's like, dude, you were entrusted to raise this kid and you just didn't. I don't know. You're just like, nah, somebody else gonna have to handle that. I'm the Hokage.
So, in your opinion, this is going to be hard to ask. Who is the most underrated but highest value character in Naruto? Right. So for me, it's like Iruka Sensei. Iruka Sensei was so pivotal in like helping Naruto get to where he is. He constantly refers back to how Iruka Sensei was the only one that believed in him, took him to get ramen. I watched a clip the other day. I guess it was in one of the fillers where Naruto was coming back and he was standing outside of his room. It was his birthday and he knew no one was going to be there. Right. And he walks in and Iruka Sensei is there. Like, to me, Iruka Sensei is the most undervalued, like underappreciated, highest value character of all of Naruto.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of screen time, but he, like, when he's there, he makes a big difference.
Oh yeah, Iruka's a legend. He's in the first episode too.
Yeah.
Oof.
I'm gonna say Asuma.
Yeah.
Just because he doesn't get a ton of screen time, but like when he's on, like, I mean, I will say he's like one of the most painful deaths. Like I felt that, even though we didn't get a ton of backstory on him, all that kind of stuff. Like, it kind of like teed up, and it was like, "Oh, you took away my sensei. Like, what just happened?"
Bro, when he passed and you find out she's pregnant, oh my god, my heart was broke.
Yeah, I mean, Asuma too. he kind of steps in as the father figure too, because Shikamaru's dad wasn't necessarily. Just doesn't seem like they didn't give us a lot of background, but it didn't seem like he was the most present in Shikamaru's life.
Not until Asuma passed, right?
Yeah,
it's almost like he let Asuma be a dad, and then when he passed, he like stepped in, like they started playing the little chess game.
Yeah, and it kind of seemed like, you know, Shikamaru's dad's more of a tough love guy, which is obviously like fine, but you know, even after Asuma died, he just kind of like, hey, toughen up and it'll be all right, just cry, which Shikamaru needed at the time, obviously, and it was the right way to approach it. But
that scene,
yeah, that was, oh my gosh. So that is one thing Naruto the show does much better than a lot of the other animes I've watched. They make you feel connected to the characters better than almost any other anime I've seen. The only other one I would say, like, there's some people on Attack on Titan that when they died, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I can't think of another one where I'm just like connected to the characters.
Yeah, I mean that's what, you know, me and Joe were saying before, trying to get you to watch it. It's just like, man, Naruto and obviously Shippuden too, and its whole, especially towards the end, like the Great War arc, it just gets a little redundant. There's some times where there's too many flashbacks, and
there's flashbacks and flashbacks.
Yeah, there really is, and they just do a little too much. Like they could probably cut off 30 to 50 episodes of the show. For sure.
I mean, I think they could cut off like 200.
Well, if you include filler.
No, I'm not including filler.
I'm not either.
But it is a show that at the end of it, like, it's like Game of Thrones. You don't realize how many characters, backgrounds, and stories that you got and you care about. Like Neji, I mean, the Neji story at the beginning was like, I mean, that was Naruto encapsulated, like the first Naruto series encapsulated. Gaara was, you know, Naruto encapsulated. Like, let's just say the Chunin exams and all that. Like, I mean, you cared about so much of them, and then they just kind of off half of those characters.
Yeah, and like in a crazy way too, right? So like, and Neji's is like a growth, right? So like Neji's like, you know, he's selfish. Then like he sacrifices himself, which is so unexpected. I mean, he did grow a lot, right? Him and Hinata became much closer. He became a better person, but still, I didn't expect him to just sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get to like, I mean, everybody, like even Choji Shikamaru team. Like Shikamaru was an absolutely amazing character.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, just by the end of it, like you just like so many characters, even the villains. Like you get a backstory of every single Akatsuki.
Yep.
And I think that's what makes it great. And like Nate did, he finished it recently. It was just kind of like, we got done. He's like, oh, this, and here's my complaints about Naruto. My complaints, like, it's really good, but here's my complaints. But now, you know, a couple months removed from watching it, you're like, holy crap, dude. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed Naruto until now that it's over.
The thing about Naruto is, it's too long. Like by the time you get to the end of it, it's so drawn out, and it's just you're burnt out, right? Like you no longer have an appreciation for it. But not only that, but the overarching villain of the Great War arc, like all of them. But then when it comes down to, like, you got Madara, you got Obito, you got all of them, but then just like some random
alien
god, right? And I'm like, you spend all this time building a connection with all these people and making them feel, and then like the end all be all is a person that no one gives a shit about. It felt very off the mark for Naruto. You know, like I would almost rather see like somebody possess Jiraiya and bring it back, because imagine what you would have felt like if the final villain would have been like Jiraiya versus Naruto.
No,
you know, like we would.
I think I could handle that.
Yeah, but for me, like I just didn't care. At the end, I was so burnt out. I didn't care about. I can't remember the god lady's name or any of that stuff. And I know it's like the Sage of the Six Paths and like, you know, his mom. Like I get the connection, but ultimately, like I didn't have the personal connection with her to care. I was just like, I just want this to be over.
Well, it's because you're a dumb American. Like It's going back to the roots of like Japanese culture.
Maybe I didn't get it.
I mean, yeah, in a way it is, but it's kind of like, the problem with Dragon Ball Z is it got to a point where it's just like, oh, there's just this another level. It's like you go up a level. It's like, oh, well, now you're beating a god. It's like, okay, well, now you're going to be a god of a universe. Well, now this is the god of this galaxy, and it's just like whatever. So I agree with you. I wish that they would have, after Madara had just went straight to Naruto versus Sasuke. Now I enjoy like that fight because it's cool, I guess. But so maybe they did it for this reason. I don't know. But in Boruto, the main villains are that race of alien people.
Yeah, but I think they just had to like try to somehow explain the infinite Tsukuyomi and just where like they felt like they needed to explain where it came from, what it was, that kind of stuff. So it's like the destroyer of worlds, those kinds of things. It wasn't just this thing that Madara was trying to put people in to make a better world. It was actually this really sinister, they're going to suck up all the energy and use it as pills or something to make themselves stronger.
I don't think they had to explain it, because at this point in Naruto, the power creep was so real. Like they could have thrown anything at you with no explanation, and you just kind of accepted it as it's Naruto. It happens, right? Because at any point in time, let's take Sasuke. Anything that got thrown at him, his Sharingan had an answer for it, right? It didn't have to be something that was already established either. It could be like, oh, look, my eye creates this crazy thing that does this whatever thing to get me out of this whatever situation. And you just accept it. Like, you're not like, oh, well, the Sharingan's never done that before. You're just like, cool. Now he has, the 7th level of the Sharingan. Yeah, I don't think they had to justify it. For me, it's just I just feel like they went off the rails and they didn't know where to go with it. And they talked about the Sage of the Sixth Path so much that they had to put it in there somehow, some way, and that was how they did it.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I like the Naruto Sasuke fight, but I didn't like the Kaguya or whatever thing. It just
and then how this god was just defeated by the reverse sexy jutsu.
Well, and that's kind of Game of Thrones like too. It's like,
yeah, it's like what? This ultimate being just gets massacred by a dog.
Yeah,
naked men. Like what?
It's definitely my biggest complaint. Is the end was just drawn out in the flashbacks. Like Carly basically hadn't watched it. I really just wanted her to watch a couple fights left, but I'm not pushing her to watch it because I know it's just kind of redundant. But I will say this: I do it every time. It may be drawn out to a degree, but it's better than Hunter x Hunter.
I will say, Hunter x Hunter. I have recently finished Hunter x Hunter, and I did like. Having just recently finished, like I do like Hunter x Hunter. It was worth watching, but it does not compare to Naruto. Like it is not even in the same tier list of like Naruto versus Hunter x Hunter. But Hunter x Hunter is good and it is worth watching. It's just
Naruto is one of those shows. It gets better the longer you're away from it. I told you this the other day, Keeton, right? Like I'll be on like TikTok or Instagram and like little clips come up and it takes me back. Like I remember like a lot of them I'm like, oh, I remember where I was when I was in this, and I like get hyped about it. Like honestly, Naruto gets better the longer I am away from it. I watch more clips, I get more hyped about the clips. Like I want to know, like part of me wants to go back and rewatch it. I won't because there's so many episodes, but like just to relive, especially now knowing all of it, like I feel like I can appreciate it more versus like trying to put together the pieces and just watch some of the fights. Like I've watched the Gar Rock Lee fight probably 40 times.
I watched the Pain fight a lot. And then the drunken fight with guy I can't remember who.
That's such an underrated fight. That would be a top tier fight in a lot of animes, but it's just like.
Was that the Kimimaru Rock Lee one?
Yeah, where he was just like the drunken. I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a show that like the further you are removed, the more you realize, because like you just find the clips of stuff happening and you're like, holy crap, like I forgot how good that was. Yeah. But it's just kind of like you you get used to the good fights a little bit. Plus, there's so many of them that you just kind of like. Honestly, you know what's crazy is the holy crap! Why did I forget her name? Pink hair girl that everyone hates in Team
Sakura.
Sakura. When Sakura and the grandmother fight the puppet Akatsuki,
Yeah,
that was actually a really good fight. Like, it's a really good fight, but no one will ever mention that if you just had like, what's the best fights debate? No one will ever say that. But like a
it is
lot
a
of
great
those,
fight.
the Hidan fight, like whenever Shikamaru fights whichever one killed
Keeton.
Asuma, I forgot the name of it.
Keeton.
Was it Hidan or the other dude? Anyways, like all those fights are just like incredible. So I think like the peaks of Naruto are just so high, but that's valid.
There's some valleys. There's some lows.
No, I think the lowest of low is some of the filler where there was like, I will never forget the Elvis impersonator filler where I was like, what in the hell am I watching? Like, why is there an Elvis impersonator in Naruto? Like, what is this? And then Keith introduced me to the filler list. And I was like, thank God.
The filler list is clutch, and it saves you like 300 episodes.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't watch filler.
Yeah.
Could you imagine just watching all the filler through that? Couldn't do
I will
it.
say there are some moments where I feel like I missed like a little bit here, a little bit there, because it was probably touched on in a filler, but it's
Yeah.
still not enough to justify watching a filler at all. So the big, go ahead, Joe.
I'll say like when we were just talking about Hunter x Hunter versus Naruto, I will say there's only like 3 filler episodes of Hunter x Hunter. So that was pretty awesome. I only had to skip like 2 episodes.
If you have the list, what does it matter if it's 1 or 2,000?
I was just saying, like, as far as like how it was put together.
I'll give Hunter x Hunter credit.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I do like Hunter x Hunter. I just think it's underrated.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So the big question, do you prefer original Naruto or do you prefer Shippuden?
that depends on my mood, but if I could go back and just rewatch one, I'd probably rewatch the original Naruto because I thought it was more consistent throughout, like consistently good throughout the whole premise of it. Your power scaling wasn't ridiculous. There wasn't really any part of it that was drawn out in any sense. And I mean, there's just something about like it's them in their purest form, and like it's like take Pokemon for example. Like when you first start Pokemon, like a game of Pokemon, and you're figuring your team out and you're catching whoever, like that's the most fun part. Once you have your team decided and you're just going through 6 through 8 or 5 through 8 gym, you're just kind of like, I mean, this is fun. I'm enjoying it. But I felt like the same with Shippuden and Naruto is like all this is brand new. And you're just seeing it in its purest form and like kind of growing with them a little bit. So I'd probably say the original Naruto. I actually really like Shippuden. I think Shippuden has better fights in general. Just probably just better animated, but yeah.
I was gonna say Shippuden just because of the amount of like the different fights and the loss that you feel. Like it just puts it to that next level. Whereas like original Naruto is really good for the reason that you stated, right? It kind of gets like it's your first experience in Naruto, you're getting to grow with them, that kind of stuff, but you don't actually like start getting hit in the heart until like Shippuden, where they just like, you know what, we built all these people up and now we're gonna take them from you. So it's like you just feel it and it stays with you.
That's true. And that's hard for me to like. It's hard because it is kind of 2 different shows, to be honest.
We got Elijah. Welcome.
Hey, what up, boys?
What up, Elijah?
What up, buddy? We're talking about Shippuden versus the original Naruto right now.
Yeah, I heard most Keaton's explanation. I think
You're kind of quiet, Eli. Maybe turn up the volume.
We'll move the mic a little closer. What were you saying, Keaton, while he gets that straightened up?
A lot of the same things that you do, like you don't really know about Itachi till Shippuden, and I know some people that Itachi's the favorite character, Minato, Hashirama, so you kind of get a broader base on some of the really influential characters, but like it's just the pureness of the original Naruto is like, I don't know. It's hard. It just depends on my mood, honestly. Am I wanting to watch just incredible fights? Probably should.
Yeah. Is that me?
Maybe you are.
What's happening?
Hey, buddy.
What are you
So
doing?
for me, on the Shippuden versus original Naruto takes it hands down. The only caveat is Shippuden does have the best arc of both shows, but original Naruto, just how happy-go-lucky they are, the purity of it, I guess, the humor in it, the fact that it's not a massive power scale. It is legit them still learning their powers. Hand signs are still a thing, right? There's still limitations to what they can do. It is not like, oh man, I need this otherworldly power to do this one thing and I can, randomly do it. It is literally him learning to run up a tree, learning how to correctly throw shurikens and how to walk on water. Like there is like a realness to it, a believability aspect to it, right? Even though it is anime, even though it is like powers that you wouldn't see and it's, whatever. But like Shippuden just takes it to the next level with so much stuff. The power creep and the power scale is just so massive. It almost gets away from ninjutsu and just becomes a full blown like a summon fights or just like what kind of bullshit crazy power does this person have. It literally just becomes a battle of broken powers, and that is why it becomes Naruto versus whatever evil person versus like Naruto and Sakura and Shikamaru and all these people. It literally just becomes Naruto versus, and it's because of the power scales and the creep versus like everybody growing and learning and the capabilities of the Naruto world being at a level playing field, because they did have to do some MC stuff to get the MC where it needed to be, but by doing that they excluded everyone else.
Yeah,
So
I can see that, but
before Eli answers, you know what? Like it really is what it's come down to, and why we probably like the pain arc so much is because in Naruto you really get to see them train and become who they are. Where in Shippuden it's just kind of like Dragon Ball Z level scaling, just something real quick, like, oh, all of a sudden I can do a Rasen Shuriken now, or whatever. Like I'm just doing it, and then the pain fight in Shippuden, you see him training and learning Sage Mode. And that's probably why we like Sage Mode as well as we do, because we saw him learn it. Plus, it looks like badass. But Naruto, in its essence, is that, like them training, them learning, seeing their dynamic between the teams and their friends and growing. And the Shippuden kind of takes a lot of that away. Now, it does its own storytelling in a certain way, but you don't see them kind of growing from a training aspect. And I think that's probably why. I mean, I like Pain Arc the most, and it's the best arc. Why I like Pain Arc the most is because
I think it's Pain Arc, Chunin exams, and then the Great War arc. To me, my opinion.
Yeah, I would say like with the power creep thing, I mean they kind of right the ship a little bit in Boruto. Like essentially, Sasuke becomes like a taxi, and that's about with his eyes, and that's about all he can use them for. So
it's still a badass.
Yeah, it's still awesome. It's still awesome, but like the power creep is like, well, they have definitely been nerfed, and this makes a lot more sense now.
Well, I mean, they had to. If they picked up where Naruto left off, they're going to start throwing planets at each other, right? They're going to be like, here's Pluto to the face. Boom. So, Eli, what are your thoughts? Original Naruto or Shippuden?
Well, I mean, like literally throw a tiny planet or not throw it.
You're still low, Eli.
Still
yeah. Maybe try unplugging the mic and just plugging it back up. See if that works. The simple help desk. Like
I don't know why all of a sudden it's going to be a jerk. Hang on. There. Now I can adjust it. Am I better?
So it sounds like you're in an echo chamber. So it might be your computer picking it up versus your actual mic. It might not be your headset that it's picking up.
Oh geez, yeah.
So, but while he's checking on this, just to continue, right? Like, I mean, they had to power scale everyone down in order to restart another show. And that's also why a lot of, I mean, it's the issues that a lot of people have with Boruto from what I've read. I haven't watched it. Is they're like, how is Sasuke and Naruto doing this? And then now this is their limitations. Like, it's hard to wrap your head around it.
You know,
Well-
he's like, he used the Sharingan twice. Now he's out of commission. Like,
Well, so not to spoil too much Boruto, but Sasuke doesn't have the Rinnegan anymore. Well, he does have one Rinnegan, actually. I'm an idiot. But
No,
he gets, obviously, something happens with Naruto in Boruto that gets him nerfed. That actually is decent writing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like they both are nerfed like on screen, so you see like what happens and why.
Yeah, it's so they actually do that well. They just, the problem that they ran into is they waited way too long to do that. It kind of was the Naruto and Sasuke show. Like, it was about the Boruto and the kids, but it was just more or less like, when's Naruto gonna have to fight, or when's Sasuke gonna have to fight? Now they're kind of veering off of that. And people who read the manga said it's amazing, like what's about to start. But
Yeah, the time skip after the time skip.
yeah,
It's supposed to be really good.
I'll probably pick it up after the time skip.
I'll have to send you a list. Like, that's not even
Yeah.
something that you should watch, like filler versus non-filler. There's like, because there's some bad episodes of Boruto, to be honest with you.
But there's a
Elon,
list
talk to
of
us.
the perfect order.
I'm hoping I fixed it.
Yeah,
You did fix it. Let's
Okay.
go. All right.
Yeah.
Original Naruto versus Shippuden. Take it away, Eli.
Oh my god, I'm like 20 minutes behind now. It's tough because Shippuden almost feels like multiple shows. Like, if you want to, they almost made it just to like keep up with modern anime. And I'm probably just over analyzing everything. And I'm like you said, the original was nice and it was good storytelling and character building. I think the very first story arc was one of the most underrated because it was really quick.
Oh,
Forget
yeah.
about it. But come on, like was it the Mist
Yeah.
Village, Hidden Mist, or whatever, and like that hooked a lot of people because all of a sudden you had this really deep, like emotional and surprising arc going on. Versus like I super enjoyed the high intensity fights in Shippuden, but it like Nate was saying, it's kind of like I miss the days where we were just practicing turning into a log. Like,
Substitution jutsu.
yeah, seriously, like that was like the move, and you never knew when they were gonna bust it out. Like, oh my gosh, that guy just got stabbed. Psych, I'm a log. All the time.
Or psych, I'm a shuriken. Like,
Yeah. Like, the substitution was like, oh, the mastermind level move, and then it turns into literal like planetary devastation. And yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when Naruto, so Zabuza, right? That is one of my favorite fights. And so when Sasuke throws the big shuriken, I don't know what it's called, right? Someone can correct me. I'm sure they will. But he throws the big shuriken, and then Naruto pops out of it, right? Like it substituted himself into it. Like I was like, oh God. But even that is like, that's a proper power skill. Like, he's been training, he's been working on these types of things. It's him and Sasuke growing together. Even that. So
Yeah.
that fight was great.
It felt more like these are kids going after like Master Ninja, and it's more ragtag, and they're just barely scraping by. You also get like the first rage scene. You get the drama of Naruto made friends with this person ahead of time, and blah blah blah. And like it was a lot, and it was a really short arc, but it was a great intro to the series, and I think that probably hooked a lot of people and got us watching because God knows there were hundreds of horrible episodes, so something had to keep us there. But I mean, I loved I've also rewatched several specific episodes dozens of times. Obviously the Gaara Rock Lee fight's one of them, but the Naruto Gaara fight later on, I think is when Naruto finally summons like the boss Toad for the first time, and that was like a really cool big deal. And you get to see like you don't even know it, but you're seeing like the start of sort of their camaraderie and mutual respect and shared life ties and whatnot. But I think overall, getting back to the question, the original was probably a better show for me. But like I said, it's so hard to like wrap my mind around everything that was Shippuden. Like the beginning started fast, and you have Orochimaru, and now Naruto's like growing tails, and we're seeing some like the very intro of like this cosmic power shit, and then all of a sudden it just got real weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like they just get a little ridiculous with the Sharingan and the Nine Tails in general. Like it just becomes such plot armor, like especially the Sharingan. Like it's just.
I like the Nine Tails, like when they were going through, like how he would get an extra tail, like when he was going through each time he got mad, he would get an extra tail, and they were trying to stop it. Like that part of the Nine Tails was really cool. Just kind of trying to bottle up his rage and keep the beast within, and just those kinds of things. But then when he got the cloak, and then he was just like, well, now he's unstoppable. And then of course Sasuke had to match him with his Susanoo. Now he's unstoppable, and he can shoot giant energy arrows from the sky. Like, yeah, it does get a little ridiculous, but I like the build up to it. Like the story behind the Nine Tails and like the struggle that he went through to get to where he was. They just were like, you know what? Now he's the ultimate being. So,
well, I think the struggle is what made even the little cloak, the little tail thing, made it at all interesting. Is because like you could see he was trying to fight it, right? Like he didn't necessarily want it, and he didn't want to embrace it because it was the anger and all of that. Like, and then like what he did to Jiraiya with it shows you how powerful he is. But with like the Susanoo and the ultimate defense, and the Susanoo scaling just bothered me so much. The Sharingan in general, and the most ridiculous Sharingan is the like how you get extra lives Sharingan.
I don't time one or whatever where it rewinds it. The one that
like
Hanzo had like 4,000 of like all over.
How is your eyes rewinding time? It's absolutely ridiculous.
What kind of, I guess, confusing?
I mean, they could put you in another dimension. Why not rewind time?
I'm more okay with that than the rewind time one.
It's kind of what's kind of confusing about the Sharingan sometimes was just like they'd introduce something like the Tsukunome that lights you on fire, the black flame.
Amaterasu.
Yeah, Amaterasu, not But and then like they wouldn't even tell you anything, but all of a sudden, like if he would Amaterasu Naruto, he would just like wipe it off the cloak. Like it was just like it didn't matter. Like a bunch of the Sharingan stuff just got kind like to me, dog. Whenever Itachi put Kakashi in that like 72-hour thing, I was like, holy shit. And Itachi, the Sharingan is the coolest thing on the entire planet. Like how is anyone going to beat Itachi? They can just do that. He can just do that, but then you never see that again.
Well, they did a good job with it. Like,
and they said you can only use it like a certain amount of times or something.
With the Itachi and the Sasuke fight, like
dude, that's one of the best fights in Naruto.
Yeah, the way they used the Sharingan in that fight was amazing.
Because it was constant genjutsu, right? They were just like mentally like fucking with each other.
Right.
I will say one thing Naruto does well though is they do get ridiculous on the power scale, but in a lot of those like later fights, they still introduce like simple concepts to their fight, like simple taijutsu. Even like the Naruto Sasuke fight, like they just throw hands for a while before they get to some of the ridiculous stuff. So
they like scale down. It is nice.
Yeah, and that's probably why. I mean, that's why people love the Obito versus Kakashi fight because they just end up throwing hands for the most part. Even though I think it's a tad bit overrated. But
I thought it was good. I thought that was a spot where the flashbacks are fucking ridiculous. But those flashbacks were nice. Like during the fight, looking back, those moments, they were kind of quick, right? Like I really enjoyed the Obito Kakashi fight.
And then we're talking about fights like Madara versus Maikai. Like that hype moment where he's like, I recognize you as the greatest, taijutsu. Or I was like, oh God.
I love that fight. See, Nate thinks that's overrated.
I don't know.
As a Rock Lee guy sensei, you know what?
No, like it was great, right? And Mike Guy, we've already established, and Eli, I'm going to ask you in a second who your favorite Naruto character is. So think about it. And we've already all answered it, so we'll see if you double up on any of them.
Wow.
But like it was solid, but I think the hype behind it is why I was a little bit. I was expecting more, and I don't know how much more you could have given me in that situation, since he was literally putting his like life on the line. But also, one of my biggest gripes about Naruto, I know there's a few losses that are big, but losses are constantly brought back. So Mike Guy opening the inner gates, he was supposed to sacrifice himself. Naruto bringing him back, or whoever, I don't remember who it was. It was Naruto, right? Bringing him back. That, for me, it took something away from it, because Mike Guy offered his life to protect everyone, which is so fitting for Mike Guy, just to have Naruto erase it. And I think all of that combined is why I was just like, eh.
I agree. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah, I watched other stuff where they really took the heart out of it like that too. Because they're like sitting there like, oh no, I'm devastated. And they're like, oh, never mind, I guess. like why do we even go through this? But
I mean, dude, I was so sad. Like when I thought Choji died, I was like, no, but I just started liking Choji. But then he didn't. You know, like there's so many situations where you're like, oh no, but then they're good.
They're like feints for when the actual ones hit you, because you're like, they're not. What?
And then
imagine a show where they just started from where either Kakashi or Hinata actually died, and then Naruto goes like rogue evil.
Yeah, he would just
says, you know what, Sasuke, I fucking see what you're talking about, buddy.
Yeah, there's no jutsu to talk no jutsu. He's throwing hands.
Yeah. Dude, Hinata, bro, she's clutch. She's a ride or die for life.
She's an underrated, super valuable.
Yep.
Yeah.
She is what we all want in our significant other.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
on that note too, I gotta say I tuned in right when Nate was asking earlier like who the underrated characters were, and the first person that popped into my head instantly was Iruka Sensei, and I was yelling in my car like, "Yeah, it's the man!" Episode 1, and he's like crying, he gets stabbed. You're like, "Oh my god!" Yeah,
yeah. Iruka is just like, "You feeling bad, buddy? Let's just go get some fucking ramen, man."
Yeah,
That's the answer to everything.
I feel like we all need that person in our life, right? Like I'm down, shit's getting tough, bro. Let's go get some ramen. I'm in.
Yeah. Let me grab my frog purse. Yeah.
So Eli, who's your favorite character?
I mean, I think I just go knee jerk with probably Rock Lee, but it's tough. Yes. It's tough because he's tragically given too little screen time, and it's a very, very close race between him and Jiraiya for me. But yeah, I was devastated when Jiraiya died, and
we all were.
That was awful. I just don't know. Like, how do they choose? Like, who's choosing this? Are they throwing darts at a board? You have like 500 characters in the show. You kill like 4 of them through the whole freaking thing. Like, just off some other ones then. I don't, come on, save the good ones.
And the way Jiraiya died, man, oh my god, all of it together. Yeah. It was crazy, Eli. You essentially said what I said, which is awesome. This is why you're my boy. That's like almost word for word. I love Rock Lee. I just hate the fact that he was almost non-existent in Shippuden.
Yeah, like why is 1010 still on Shippuden? But
yeah, it's like the things that people have come back from in this show, just like otherworldly injuries and disabilities and such. And Rock Lee's like, I broke my back. We don't have medical technology, I guess, so I'm done forever. I'm like, oh, well,
bro.
Okay.
Imagine if Rock Lee would have picked up like the fan, right, instead of 1010. Like, bro, how crazy would it be if like Rock Lee, who just knows Taijutsu, picks up this magic like weapon and just starts like whooping ass with it? That would be amazing.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I've watched him drop those weights. too. Like, oh man, yeah, teenage me was super hyped.
I think
Teenage
it's one of the best fights.
grown adult me
yeah.
was super hyped.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, that is my number one rewatched episode for sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about arcs. So we have Pain arc, we have the Great War arc, we have the tuning exams. Those are the three big ones that stand out to me. You know, if y'all have another one you want to throw in the mix, by all means. But of those three, I think we can all agree, and I think it'll be a quick, answer. But
That's not true.
Which do you prefer?
That's not true. More people like other arcs than you think. I like the Pain arc personally.
If I had to pick, the Pain arc is, just that fight is what sets it apart from everything else. I did like where he had to, I can't remember what arc it is, but he had to battle his inner demon. That's where he met his mom and that kind of thing. So it gave backstory and it showed him overcoming that. I did like that as well, but just not as much as the pure fight in Pain.
That's when he was training with Killer B, right?
Mm.
What about you, Eli? Which arc?
I think I would go with the tuning exams. That's probably my favorite. It was pretty long too. I mean, you got a lot of different things going on there, and a lot of good story development in that time too. Myself personally, I thought the Pain arc was a little chaotic. It was some big. I mean, the whole village gets wiped out. And we're not really even paying attention to that. Nobody really cares. Everyone's just standing off on the sides. And you're like, wait, did this really just happen? And then we have the planetary destruction. And everyone is literally just sitting around after that happens. They're just like, oh, I think my leg hurts. I'm not going to do anything. Look,
they're in shock, Elijah.
Turn it into
what
a demon fox. You're like, okay, this is fine, I guess. The whole arc in general, I enjoyed. I love the Jiraiya fight on it, obviously, and Pain was a cool antagonist, and learning the story and everything was cool. But the arc as a whole, I thought was all over the place, and I guess kind of that is really indicative of the original versus Shippuden. Also, it's just kind of felt like the storytelling was a little more, like you said, pure in the original.
Like Sasuke retrieval arc.
Oh, I don't want to talk about Sasuke retrieval. I don't want to talk about Sasuke, period. He's my least favorite character. I'll take Sakura over Sasuke.
You and I are one and the same.
I got way too mad at that guy for so long to ever give him a redemption arc. I'm sorry. But I also think my second would be the the Hidden Mist Village, the first real arc there. It's I don't think I've ever really rewatched that one either, but it still sticks with me.
Yeah.
I rewatched the fight, where he brings the ice mirrors all around, where you see the first sign of the Nine Tails energy coming out of him and him lose control. I don't know, that was a hype moment for me too. I was like, oh
absolutely. I remember. I do remember the first time I watched that. And I was like, what is happening? Losing my mind.
What's crazy is I can picture everything you're talking, right? There's parts of the Great War and everything, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a little fuzzy on it. But the Zabuza fight and the ice mirrors and Sasuke sacrificing himself to protect Naruto, that leading into Naruto protecting Sasuke from Orochimaru, all of that, I remember all of it. So the Hidden Mist Village is a fantastic arc as well. It's probably number 3 for me. For me, it's Pain, then the tuning exams. And I think a big part of the tuning exams for me is how hype Joe and Keeton got. So I think some outside factors make me a little biased towards it. I'd be up till 4 a.m. just so I could update these guys, right? I'd be like, guys, I just watched this person fight this person and this happened and it was amazing. And I wish this would have happened. Gar's a bitch, right? So it's got to be tuning number 2. And then I think the Hidden Mist would probably be my number 3. And I really did like the Great War arc. It dragged on way too long, and I hate how it ended. So it gets kicked down a lot for me.
I think that's a lot of Naruto too. When you were going through it, and we were tell us where you're at. Tell us about the fight you just watched, and and we would know what was going on. I would go and rewatch a fight that you were about to watch, so I could I don't know, feel it again, see it through your eyes and talk about it, that kind of stuff. So that was, pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, I straight told Joe and Keaton that if Rock Lee doesn't make a comeback, I would stop watching Naruto, and then I'll be damned if the show doesn't heal him just to never give him screen time again. So like they brought him back, so I had to finish, but then just took him away anyways.
Oh man,
It's lovely.
I know,
Yeah,
I know we are we're a little over. We're supposed to keep it to an hour, but I know Elijah joined a little late. Elijah, like you have some stuff that you were listening to and missed that you want to chime in on, that kind of
I
stuff.
want to drop one bomb for the sake of just starting shit. Underrated characters. How about Orochimaru? Because
I mean,
we all hated him,
Orochimaru-
but he was that guy for a long time, and he forced Naruto through a lot of development as well. Actually, he was grooming him, and like there were his little minions all over the place, and everyone was getting in fights. We would have missed out on a lot of fights, a lot of content if he hadn't been around. And you know, he did start off as one of the legendary Sani? Yeah.
And the way he comes in with he was impersonating someone else and then does the snake thing and bites
Creepy as
Sasuke.
hell.
I was just like, that was disgusting and disturbing. Like
every time he's around, there's some creepy happening, something of a questionable sexual suggestiveness as well. It seems like, like I don't know. I don't like these vibes, but
then you think Sasuke kills him, and then he's not actually dead yet. That kind of thing. I was like, all right.
I mean, you got to think, like, if you look at through a series of happenings, right? Orochimaru is the reason Naruto becomes Naruto, because without, you know, Orochimaru tagging Sasuke, without Sasuke like seeking out Orochimaru to gain power, right? All of that, it would have never pushed Naruto to the point to where he is, how he had to get stronger. Now, you could argue that the Akatsuki, you know, also pushed him, but ultimately Orochimaru pulling Sasuke away from Naruto is what pushed Naruto in the direction where he ended up. Orochimaru was a massive part of the story. And then also you can argue that Orochimaru is the only reason they won the Great War arc.
Kabuto, maybe.
Yeah, Kabuto is an odd character that got. I feel like Kabuto got more screen time than Orochimaru in the end. It's like, Orochimaru was kind of just like in and out of the show, but he was always pulling strings from the back, and I'm like, I didn't really care for Kabuto's screen time, but
Orochimaru brought back Tobirama, Minato, Hashirama, all of them in the Great War arc. Without that, they lose.
It's just weird because if you were to ask somebody while watching Naruto which characters would be super relevant towards the end of Shippuden, and you'd say that Kabuto was more relevant than Neji, Gaara, Rock Lee, you'd be like, well, that sucks. And that's kind of what they did.
Yeah.
I don't understand. This is one of the big issues that I have with Naruto. I don't understand how Kabuto had Sage Mode. And then also, like, all of his powers that came with Sage Mode, like, Kabuto was always smart, very agile, like, was very creative, and was usually the smartest person on the field, right? But when they gave him Sage Mode, it made no sense.
I thought it was part of because, like, Orochimaru was part of him or possessed him, that kind of thing. So it was really Orochimaru's power.
Maybe. I don't remember. I just remember being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, Orochimaru was always kind of just lingering. Something about him was always lingering, but he was the one that was researching like immortality and all that. I mean, he started this creepy little basement experiments and whatnot. Like, he got the ball rolling, and then suddenly it just transitioned into Kabuto. It's like, at first I was like, I guess he idolizes Orochimaru, and I was like, I guess he literally wants to be Orochimaru, like, or maybe vice versa. Like, yeah, like the number of times that some character's face got ripped off and it was Orochimaru behind it, like, I lost track. And I was like, I don't even know.
Everybody that she's watching hockey, she get into it. She just say like, fuck.
Yeah.
But like every person that walk on screen, I'd be like, is that Orochimaru? You know, like if there was any sinister intent at all, I'm like, Orochimaru.
Yep. It's like the old Scooby Doo show. Like, who's behind the mask? Oh, it's Orochimaru again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he still what was it? I also enjoyed the beginning of Shippuden when we went to the Sand Village, and we had some of the like first Akatsuki people coming around and stuff. Like those were really good fights, and like you were talking about the Sakura and the Granny fight, yeah, the Puppet
Sasori.
Master and everything. Like that stuff was awesome. So I mean, it didn't really add much to the story. I didn't feel like, but they opened with a bang. Like I appreciated the action.
I
And,
think what it added to the story is it showed you how powerful the Akatsuki was, right? Like
yeah,
if Sasori and the other dude, it's not Kakazu. It was
Hit on.
Sasori. Was it Hidan? It wasn't Hidan. It
Yeah,
was
guy.
The origami guy, right?
Origami guy.
Daedra. I was just about to bring up Daedra.
Daedra. Yeah, Daedra.
Daedra, yeah. It just showed you how strong they were with the Gaara thing, and then Sasori fighting all of them, and it kind of set the stage for like how powerful the Akatsuki was.
Yeah, but then that all culminated into Orochimaru fighting Naruto, and that was him turning into that. I think that was the first time we saw like the cloak and a really crazy badass scene. That was the first time we saw like you said, like Naruto suffering through the transformations. It looks like he's suffering. You literally see like his skin peel off, but the powers all of a sudden are like more than we've ever seen before. And that was definitely a fight scene I've rewatched as well.
Yeah, that's when he hurt Sakura, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skin peels off, and then his like bones come out, and
yeah, and he just turns into like the weird energy lump cannon. I don't know.
Since we figured out that we have different opinions on annoying characters, was Daedra annoying to y'all? I couldn't stand Daedra.
he was annoying. Yep.
He was meant to be though, right? Like he was meant to be stupid, kitschy. Like he had
Look at my art.
Many like knacks about him.
I think Warhead's supposed to be annoying, and y'all think he's great.
Inosuke is amazing. Okay, so there's that. Daedra didn't bother me. I thought some of his abilities were kind of weird, right? Like everything he was able to do, and like the whole my art thing, like him and Sasori going back and forth about what is art. I mean, that's a real thing. Art is subjective, and so like I got what they were trying to do. I thought it was kind of a cool layer that they brought into it. He never really bothered me.
I thought for some reason, like the idea nagging at the back of my head was for some reason his character was built off like some sort of stereotypical person from LA. I don't know. It's like he's blonde and he just thinks very highly of himself and is just constantly praising himself. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I was over his personality pretty quick. I didn't mind his powers. I mean, like I thought it was whatever at that point. Like, look at the things I'm seeing. What am I supposed to question anymore?
Then somehow Sasuke plot armored his way of getting away from his ultimate explosion.
Always.
So on the Akatsuki, of all the anime I watched, the Akatsuki is some of the best written. Some of the ones like you almost like there's some of them like Pain. You understand his train of thought. And I think that's why I love the Pain arc so much is because of how well it's explained and you understand Nagato and what he's talking about and like his goal and how well it's written and laid out for you, right? Like I thought the Akatsuki was so well done.
Yeah.
I think as you continue to watch more anime, you'll realize how good the Akatsuki is written. Honestly,
I will say my biggest
because there's an organization like that in Hunter x Hunter, and it's not as good.
Yeah.
My only complaint with the Akatsuki is I wish Toby was his own character. I love the original funny, like just worthless, can't do shit, but also like you feel like he's way too good, right? Like he just chooses not to be a bad. I miss that Toby. I want that Toby back. I wish they would have never fucked with him. I wish they would have just made him an original character and not turn him into. I loved Toby so much.
And that whole character was just all right. It was Toby, then it was Obito, then it was Madara. No, it was Madara, and then it was Obito, and then it was Toby. Like I was like, how many people is this person? Like, who is this? What is going on here?
A Orochimaru mask
Yeah,
all over
no,
again.
it's
What's happening?
Orochimaru actually.
No, but that makes me think with the Akatsuki being so well written, like that was actually something that was like a foundational part of the show since day one was always giving you the backstories of the antagonists, getting you to sympathize with them. Some of them were friends, some of them became allies, but they always toed the line. They always walked the line with the show. And I think that was really unique because, you know, we're American TV. We want good guys and bad guys, but this was like always gray, and you had to think about it. And even like the most cutthroat characters, they'll still explain their philosophies, and you might end up sympathizing with them some. So that's something that was done all throughout the show, and it's pretty cool.
I mean, and some of them, like, I mean, you got Keeton, right? Like, he's literally just driven by his beliefs. I mean, how many people can you say? I'm not going to say it on a podcast that is recorded, right? But do some fucked up shit because of their beliefs, right? Like, it is like, it's crazy, you know? And then you have like Kakuzu that only wants money. How many people do fucked up shit for just money? So it's literally like you can take these people and be like, oh, I see it.
Yep.
Yeah, but
his god, his person did come through though and give him immortality. Not that that helped him in the end. It sucked to be immortal at the bottom of a hole for the rest of your life, but I guess it is what it is. He shouldn't have messed with.
we can all agree though that the Hidden Leaf were always in the right.
Which faction? Now we have to talk about the political factions of the Hidden Leaf.
Danzo was one of my least favorite characters. I liked Sai a lot. I thought Sai was really cool, a lot of fun. I just joined a D&D game, and I am a bard, and I decided to be like a painting bard versus like a singing bard. And my ability is kind of like Sai. I paint shit and then I bring it to life, which is cool. Like I like Sai. Danzo was awful. I just did not.
But I've read so many like forums and whatnot of people talking about the philosophy of Danzo and like this guy had it right all along or whatever. It's just interesting to see people jump down that rabbit hole and like because like it is a very political show still.
It's the shadow of Hokage. You got to give it to him.
Yeah, right. So
he got the shit done in the background while the third Hokage was neglecting Naruto. Like,
yeah, this is the CIA back here. Come on
now. Real quick on the Akatsukis, who's everybody's favorite? Where do you stand on it?
Are we like rolling out the like pain?
Does Sasuke count? Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the Akatsuki for a second. Yeah, whoever you want. And no, you don't have to rule out Pain. Like, I love the Pain arc, but Pain is not my favorite Akatsuki member.
Dang, that's a tough one there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
I'm gonna guess, but what is yours?
It's Hidan. I loved Hidan so much. Just like his cockiness of being immortal. I don't know what it was. I freaking loved Hidan. I was gonna be Hidan for Halloween, but then I realized I had to shave my beard, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I was gonna be a bearded Hidan.
Couldn't commit.
Yeah.
I don't know because I like I say, but I mean Itachi's obviously legendary, but
yeah,
Kisame. I loved Kisame,
dude. Especially with this fight with my guy, where he like just summons the entire ocean.
Yeah, Kisame was cool, but I liked my guy whooping his ass even more. I like that my guy like didn't even remember him and is like the only shark man in the world.
I think that's when you really get to see the power of my guy, right?
Yeah.
He's like, it doesn't ring a bell. It's like, oh, the disrespect.
Yeah. I think I actually lean that way as well. That's what I was thinking, because now I'm thinking of the first time that they met as well.
Oh, yeah.
Someone just commenting like that they could sense that Kisame's power was like this bottomless well, and you're just kind of like, what's up with this guy? But I like the straightforward nature of the character as well. I kind of appreciate the not overthought, let's just have some badass fights and enjoy ourselves sort of mentality.
Yeah, and have fun till you die.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking was Kisame, just because of the background and stuff like that. because I feel like it would just be too easy to say Itachi or Pain, just because, I mean, they are awesome for what they are. But if we're taking those two out of it, I would say Kisame for sure.
Yeah. Itachi was great. I agree. Like, I think he's at the top for a lot of people, but it does feel like a cop out saying Itachi, you know. Pain, Pain you don't really like fuck with a lot until the Pain arc, and then you see everything. But like, even with all that and that being my favorite arc, he still just, as an Akatsuki member, just doesn't really do it for me. I like him more for like where he stands and stuff, not really his contributions to the show through the Akatsuki, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know who I liked, who I thought was a badass, was and they were in the Akatsuki for a little bit, but the little Sasuke running crew, whenever they went and fought Eight Tails, the water dude that always hung out with him. I always thought his like ability was so cool, and he could just like melt himself and all that. And I know it's kind of like the original, but I'm like, how does this dude ever lose a fight though? Like,
you say that, like he just got his ass whooped constantly.
I know, but that's what I was so confused about. Like, how do you lose a fight? You just turn into water and nothing happens.
I don't know. Okay, guys, unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to call it. We're gonna have to end it. It's kind of abrupt, but something just came up, so I'm going to have to run as well. But guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I feel like this is something we could probably do another episode on, because we didn't really dive into the Hidden Leaf Village, everything it does. Like, was it good? Was it bad? Are they, the root of all fucking evil in the Naruto universe? We didn't really touch on the Jinchurikis and like what they should have done, how they should have been treated, and all that stuff. Like, there's so much more we could have talked about. We might just, do Naruto again next month. Quick recap, jump into stuff we don't have. But guys, we'll let you run. We appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. Anything else you want to say before we dip?
Rock Lee forever.
Rock Lee forever. Rock Lee is the GOAT, baby.
All right. See y'all, guys.
All right, take care, guys.